This is the Marketing Minute with Eric Rhoads, author of the #1 Amazon bestseller, Make More Money Selling Your Art, Proven Techniques to Turn Your Passion into Profit.
In the Marketing Minute, I try to answer your marketing questions from your emails. Just email me, Eric at plenairmagazine.com. Plen, P-L-E-I-N, A-I-R, magazine.com. Here's a question from Laura in Eureka Springs, Arkansas, who says, I'm close to the age when most people start thinking of retirement. But what does retirement look like for an artist? Do I have time to build a retirement fund from selling art? Well, look, Laura, I am very much a believer that age is a state of mind. Now, obviously, age is a physical thing. But I know people like my dad, 93 years old, working 15-hour days, happy, making money, doing great things, socially active. And I know people in their 50s who can't get out of bed. And some of it's physical and some of it's mental. All right. So I can't predict what you personally can do. And of course, I don't give financial advice. I'm not qualified and I don't know what your needs are. But let's kind of approach this from a generic standpoint. First, I think obviously all of us should be looking to do the best we can to save, put money away, invest some money over time before we get to retirement age, because you never know what's going to happen. You never know if you're going to have a health problem and not be able to work. I encounter people all the time about the idea of making a little extra money in what they refer to as retirement. A lot of people who've worked in other jobs, a lot of doctors and psychologists and architects and professionals of all kinds who become artists. And a lot of them who are, never had those kind of jobs, but had some kind of job. And so some of them want to do it just because they want to be part of the lifestyle. They want to be part of the shows. Some of them don't need the money. Some of them want to just make an extra $500 or $1,000 a month, to supplement their Social Security or their investments. And some of them, they want to make a full out living. So what you got to do is build a plan. You got to figure out what is it that you need. How do you get there? But I think, being an artist is a beautiful thing for a retired person. And of course, you can't really look at yourself as retired. If you're taking on a job as an artist to make an income, you're not retired. You've just changed jobs, right? Your job is to be an artist who makes money. And if you don't have to be an artist who makes money, if you want to be an artist who doesn't make money, then your job is to be an artist. And then you can be kind of more casual about it. But you got to be disciplined anytime that you have to make a certain amount of money. You have to follow a discipline, a marketing discipline, a management discipline, and so on. And that's just kind of part of the deal when you're anything you're trying to do to make money. It's just like you got to manage your money when you have a job, right? So I did a couple of years ago, I did a marketing session that was designed for people who want to quit their job and start painting full time. It was called How to Quit Your Dirty, Rotten, Stinking Job and Become a Full-Time Successful Artist or something like that. Anyway, there's a video floating out there somewhere. I think it's Streamline Art Video. And the concept is that you can do it. It's best to start your art career and gradually ramp up your income before you leave or before you retire. And that way you've ramped up your income before you quit, and that way you've kind of proven that you can do it. Then you don't have to kind of scramble all the time. I think that's a good way to do it. But there's lots of other strategies too. And the idea is you have to understand that if you're going to sell your work, depending on the level of sales you're looking for, you have to brand yourself, you have to build a reputation, you have to market yourself. Branding is all about building trust and awareness, right? So people will, if it's down to two paintings and they're both equally beautiful and they can't decide, they're going to default to the brand. So I was in the shoe store today, and I was kind of down to two pair of shoes I liked. They liked them both. I didn't need them both. And finally I said, well, I'm going to take this one because I know the brand a little better. It was actually a little bit more expensive, but I felt more confident with that brand. So that's kind of how it works. I hope this helps. Anyway, nothing good is easy. I'd be lying to you if I said it wasn't easy or was easy. But you've just got to, you can take it on. And, you may have different levels of energy than you did when you were 12 or 30. But I have the same energy, quite frankly. And so I'm just crushing it. And you can do it too. But, you got to work at it. There's a lot of stuff you have to do physically and mentally and everything else. So anyway, hope this helps you. The next question is from Carolyn in Houston, who says, how do I know if I should put my artwork under glass? I'm ready to sell a piece. Does the type of glass matter? Kind of an interesting question, Carolyn. I'm not sure how to answer it exactly, but most artwork that's under glass is art that has a chance of fading or maybe getting damaged. Like pastels oftentimes are under glass so that your hands don't get on them. Of course, you can spray fixatives on them, but watercolors are oftentimes under glass too. So some of the newer watercolor pigments don't fade, but the reason they put them under glass originally is to protect them, but also so that they didn't fade, or so that the cleaning lady didn't come along and spray it with some kind of a substance that made it run. That would be a disaster. I've seen it happen. Anyway, the type of glass matters. Most people suggest what they call museum glass. It's more expensive. It's non-glare, and of course it has UV filtering to keep the fading from happening. But, glass complicates everything. Glass complicates shipping. You got to be more careful. You got to pack it better. If you're somebody like me who's out, you're doing shows, you got to carry glass with you. You got frames, and it's a lot of hassle. So that's why a lot of people paint in other mediums when they're plein air, especially if they're doing shows, just because they don't want to have to carry glass, quite frankly. But that's up to you. Back in the late 1800s, they put oils under glass. As a matter of fact, I have a beautiful old Dutch 19th century painting, maybe 18th century painting, in front of me that's framed under glass. The whole frame is under glass, and there's a box built around it. And I asked the art dealer about this, and he said, well, they did that because at the time there were a lot of coal stoves, people were smoking cigarettes and cigars, and there were fireplaces, and these things would get covered with soot. So all they had to do is clean the glass instead of clean the painting. But as I stare at that painting, I'm seeing reflections of myself and my paperwork in it. It's not as beautiful as it could be because it's not non-glare glass, because it's well over 100 years old. But you get the drift anyway. So I think you just kind of decide what you want to put up with and whether it's worth it. A lot of people hang things with glass in their homes all the time. They have pictures under glass and documents under glass. Glass is very common. I wouldn't worry about that. I hope that answers your question. And I don't think glass is a deterrent. Anyway, that's the Marketing Minute.
This has been the Marketing Minute with Eric Rhoads. You can learn more at artmarketing.com.